One of the things that I wanted to just mention is that it's the time of year in which our church leaders are making plans for the coming year. That includes our 2023 budget as part of the things that we are working on. We also have folks that are new in the life of our church, and they're not sure exactly how we deal with money here in the life of the church. And so what I want to do this morning is just for a moment, just think about some questions that people ask about giving. And we may do a couple of these over the next few weeks. But the first question I think people ask about giving is, man, why are churches always talking about money? It seems like every time I go to church, if I go to church, it's a Sunday, they're talking about money. Why is it the churches always talk about money? And there's an awful lot to unpack in that kind of a question. But the truth is, we have known folks, and maybe sometimes it's been true in our own life, where there are people who have gotten distracted and sometimes a little bit obsessed with money. And that happens in people's lives. The truth is, if we're honest, that can happen in the life of a church as well. That in their finances, they can get distracted, they can get fearful, they can get obsessed with money and therefore become unhealthy. Here is one of the things that I want to pledge to you, and that is that people and purpose will always matter more than dollars and cents here in the life of this church. And if you've been part of this church, I hope that you resonate and say, well, that does sound true. That does sound like true. And if you're just getting settled in the life of our church, I hope that you find out going forward, it's like, wow, he really meant that when he said that. And so we always want to say that people and purpose matters more than dollars and cents. But at the same time, we also have to speak honestly and deal with reality sometimes that churches have expenses just like you do. Sometimes I walk my way to church and just look at all the things that are involved, from the parking lot to the signs, to the building, to the chairs, to the air conditioning, all the things that happen. It's like, wow, every single thing that you touch and see comes with some type of expense. In the life of our church, our expenses can kind of fall into about three different categories. It's our facilities, it's our staff, and then it's our ministry. And if you're part of our church, you know we're trying to grow, develop, improve in all three areas of the life of our church. We're trying to take care of some things in our property that kind of has fallen behind, and we're trying to bring those back up to where they need to be. We just hired a new staff person last week. We are wanting to grow our ministry. We've got a fall fest that's coming up. And so all of those things happen. And so this is the very simple thing that I would say to you this morning. If you consider this your church, we ask you to be a financial part of making those things happen. If this is your church, then we ask you to be a financial part of taking care of our facilities, taking care of the expenses of having a team here that can serve you and lead you, and then a team here that has a ministry task. If this is not your church, then we pray that God blesses you this morning, that you just are built up today. But we would never ask that if this isn't your church, that you'd be part of that process. Our giving happens in a couple of different ways. We have online giving, and several of you have probably already given online this week. We have boxes on the doors, or out the doors going that way. We have boxes right here, and several of you take advantage of putting something in those boxes. But that's how that happens every week. So that's the first question that we have about giving. Why do we talk about giving every once in a while?